So we're well into 2018, more or less, and this is a pretty big year for me because I'm going to be finishing my GCSE exam courses and things. So I thought that I would look at my childhood and relive some of the best moments. But as you can tell by the title of this video, they're not going to be the happy, fun moments because that would be a boring video. So instead, I'm going to be telling you some of the more worrying stories of my childhood, and you're probably going to see me a lot different because I was a very stupid child. In this first one, I was probably about 11. I used to play violin for my school orchestra, and I actually played violin for like seven years, I think it was. And basically in my school we used to put on performances for parents and teachers in like events and stuff. In this one performance I was the lead violin person, so I had to sit like directly in the middle of the stage, and it was very nerve-wracking because I get really bad stage fright. I am awful when it comes to being in front of people that I like don't really know, but literally everyone in the entire room could see me because I was centre stage ahead of everyone, and it was terrifying. But moving on, the performance actually went really well and everyone was super happy with it. It was the part after the performance where the deputy head came up on stage to give a speech about how well and how hard we'd been working for like the month and a half that we'd done this for. That was when the story takes a turn for the worse. So I used to have a habit of getting my chair and swinging back in my chair, and I don't do that anymore because of what happened. I know it's really stupid, don't do it. It may seem fun at the time, but it's going to end horribly, just like how this one did. I was coming down from an adrenaline high which had freaked me out because I was so like scared of performing in front of people, but then everything went well, so I was fine. I was like, oh thank God. So I had started to relax, but I don't know if you get this as well, but if I have some massive nervous hype and then I relax really quickly, I get really dizzy and like the room starts spinning and everything. So I decided it was a perfect time to start rocking on my chair whilst the room was literally spinning in front of me. And the deputy head finished his amazing speech and he was just about to hand over and point over to me. Because I was like the lead violin person, I had to like stand up and bow before everyone else did. So he went, oh, and Amy, she did so well, we're really proud of her, everyone clap for Amy, and like gestured towards me. And this was where everything went terrible. While he was talking and giving his speech about how well everyone had worked, I had started to get really dizzy, and like to the point where like you start seeing black dots and you can't really see anything. I was playing along and I was like, yeah, we've worked really hard, we're so good, aren't we? Yeah. It got to the point where I like was completely oblivious to everything happening around me, which isn't good when you're rocking on a chair on the top of a stage. So I have terrible like space awareness and depth on the best of days. So when I went to stand up to bow before everyone else as he gestured towards me, I realised in my head in a split second that I was standing up, that my chair was still like back and I was still leaning back on my chair. So I was freaking out in my head going, oh my God, I cannot fall in front of all of these people. I will not fall on stage because it's not going to I am not going to let this happen. It happened. So I tried to be subtle about moving my chair forward. So I started tipping my chair forward as I went to stand up, so I didn't like fall backwards off the chair. And in my head it was a good idea, but remember, I am still completely oblivious to what's going on around me. So I went to push my chair forward so I wasn't rocking backwards on it as I went to stand up. And just as my deputy head gestured towards me, everyone started clapping like, yeah, Amy, you did great. Probably, I don't know what they were clapping at. And I was like about to bow and it was going to be great. It was going to be greatest time. I crashed and fell off the stage. And at first, everyone just went completely silent because everyone was like, well, what the hell just happened? Why did she fall off the stage? And I was the same. I was like, the fuck? What just happened here? Why am I now on the floor? Like, lying on the ground? How did this work? And then my vision came back to me and I realised that I hadn't been leaning back on my chair but actually leaning forward, and as I stood up I leant my chair even more forward, kept going until I literally just went off the front of the stage. It didn't hurt, but everyone was so panicked they just stopped and stared at me. Like, what do you do in that situation? You've just fallen off a stage in front of like 50 people. But I didn't know what to do, so I stood up, I bowed, and then I left. I was just like, thank you, you're welcome, bye. I keep hitting my badges on my hand. That's gonna sound horrible. And yeah, it didn't like hurt or anything, it was just so mortifying that I've literally never rocked on my chair since, and I just hate the feeling of falling now. So that's great, give me another phobia to add on to my list. Yay. So this story is less specific as it is general. It happened pretty much every single time I went to this place called Kids World. At the time, before I had like been to loads of like theme parks and things, Kids World was the best place to go. If you wanted a good time with your friends, perfect birthday treat, you would go there. And you can fight me on this, but I was pretty sure that that place was better than the Disneyland theme park. It was so much fun. It was so good. I loved it to bits, and I'm so sad because now I'm too old to even get in anymore. But I relive it in my memories. I'm so weird. So for those of you who don't have Kids World, because I don't know if it's like a chain thing, and I'm pretty sure even if it is, it's probably not in like America or other countries other than Britain. But it's basically an indoor adventure park. It had ropes and different coloured activities and slides and like ball pits, and look at that, look how majestic that looks. It's majestic. You can go everywhere and you can just be unsupervised for hours, because the best part about Kids World is that there were no parents allowed, and anyone above the age of 15 or 16, I can't remember, were not allowed to go into Kids World. And it was awesome because our parents would just drop us off and we'd just be there for hours on end, and it was so much fun because it was the only time that we were like properly unsupervised. Obviously there were like adults and like employees and stuff around to make sure that we didn't like kill each other like in Lord of the Flies or something. So I'd be climbing along the roof and like climbing and sliding, and it was so much fun, but I would get a little bit too overexcited to the point where I would overheat, and when I overheat I get dizzy, and dizziness equals nausea, and nausea equals a trip to the bathroom pretty quickly. The only problem with Kids World is that it is a fucking maze in there. Once you climb up that fireman's pole, there is no going back. You are stuck in there for hours, and like that was the fun part of it, because it was like, oh, like, it's an adventure, where am I going to go next? Nobody knows. You literally didn't know where you were going to end up. So once I got really dizzy and overexcited, I just had to try and find some sort of exit. Normally they were through slides, but sometimes they would trick you, and a slide would like slide down and you'd have to climb through like a tunnel or something, and you'd end up higher than you were before, and I'm getting like PTSD about it. So the only way that I would be able to get out of there quick enough to get to a bathroom was to just run in any direction and try and find my way down, which would make me even more overheated, which would make me even more dizzy, which would make me even more nauseous. It ended up being some really sick cycle where I would either get to the bathroom in time, I would throw up everywhere because I wouldn't get to the bathroom in time, or I'd just pass out on the floor and pray to God that someone would find my body in the ball pit. Normally, thank God, it was the first one and I managed to get to the bathroom. But did I learn? No, of course I didn't. You expect me to learn from my mistake? It was almost like childbirth or something, that I would forget how bad it actually got until I was crawling out of the bathroom after throwing up everywhere. So yeah. I think that proves that I was a pretty stupid kid. The fact that I purposely, well not purposely, but knowingly made myself like ridiculously ill. But you know what? I don't care. It was fun. And if I ever get a chance to rent out the Kids World that I grew up in, that was literally my childhood home because I was there so often, I would still do it because God knows that I love that place more than I love myself. Now, when I was really young, I used to be a pathological liar. And I used to lie about literally everything, even if it like didn't benefit me. I used to do it as a hobby. I now only use lying if it's going to protect someone. Because I'm a nice person. I promise. But for this case, I was not a nice person when I was lying, because I lied to my family. It was not really a lie, it was more of a dramatic improvisation. So when I was 7, I joined this drama group, which is sort of a stagecoach type school. And I still go now. I've been going for 9 years this year, actually. So, whoa, this was 9 years ago, this story. That's incredible. I didn't realise how long ago that was. I can't really remember what my intentions were for this experiment, but clearly I just wanted to test my skills that I had found in this drama academy. So I decided to pretend like I was blind and having an epileptic fit. Even though I didn't really know what epilepsy was then, like at all. I was 7, so yeah, I was stupid. Still am. You see, the thing with acting is that you're literally taught how to get away with lying to people, so me being the 7-year-old pathological liar I was prepared and I knew what to do in order to trick my family. So I waited until just the right moment. I can't remember exactly what situation I was in, but I'm pretty sure I was just playing with my sister and like I got prodded in the eye or something by accident. But my mini 7-year-old evil genius mind thought, this is it. Time to test my drama skills. So I started freaking out and I was like grabbing my eye and I was like, I can't see, I'm blind, all I can see is darkness. And I started screaming at the top of my lungs and my sister freaked out. She was like, what the fuck? Only she wasn't, because she was like 5 at the time, but she was like, the fuck? So she rushed over to me and knelt down by my side and then went to like touch my arm to see if I was okay. Shut up. And went to like touch my arm to see if I was okay. My mini evil brain had the best improvisation thought ever, I think. I'm pretty sure it was the best drama performance I've ever done, and it was just off the bat and just when I'd started drama. So I think I'm a natural at this. So the second she touched me on my arm, like really concerned, I just looked at her and then started shaking violently and I wouldn't speak. I like was pretending that I was like unable to speak because I was in like pain or something, I don't know. And I was like salivating all down the front of me, which is really gross, but added the perfect topping to that little improvisation cherry pie there. You know, thinking about it, I probably looked a little bit like Will from Stranger Things. You know the scene I'm talking about. If I managed to do that when I was like 7, I probably should take up acting as a career. But anyways, I was freaking out and like shaking all on the floor. My mum came running downstairs and saw her 7-year-old child just flopping like a fish out of water just on the floor, screaming and crying. Yes, I had taught myself how to cry on command when I was 7 years old. So I waited, still shaking on the floor and just freaking out and dripping mouth goo everywhere. That was gross. It got to the point where my mum thought I was literally dying, so she ended up calling 999, which for people not in the country that I live in is the police. So she dialed 999 and went to put it to her ear, and I just stopped and I looked up at her and went, what are you looking at? And then walked out. And I thought it was the pinnacle of my comedy career because I was so impressed with myself because I hadn't laughed once and I was brilliant. But yeah, I don't know. She didn't find it very funny. But to anyone who says I'm a bad actor, bitch, I made my family think I was dying when I was 7. Get on my level. By the way, the police actually didn't come to my house. My mum stopped the call because I got up just in time before she actually dialed the number. Don't pretend to be freaking out to the point where an ambulance comes to your house, because they will not be happy with you because they've got more important things that they need to be worrying about, and I was sort of stupid doing it, but I was 7, so I get away with it. So that is all the time that I have for today's video, but like I said at the start, I do have many more stupid kids stories that I am willing to share. So if you want a part 2 to the video, then just comment down below and tell me, because otherwise it probably won't get done. All I'm saying is that another time that I was a stupid kid is that I literally almost died because I ate a plastic coin. You're not going to hear the rest of that story until you comment down below. Heads up, if you like this video, then you probably will like that video as well, because it's got much more content in it than this one, proving even more that I am a stupid person. If you like this video, then leave it a thumbs up and subscribe, because I post videos every Sunday. So yes, that's all I have to say today, so hopefully I will see you next week. Goodbye!